Hi everyone, welcome back to Hunters Connect. Today we're talking about some gear essentials that you might need for a day out hunting. Now there are some specific items that are going to be specialized to the type of hunting that you're doing, but today we're going to stick to the basics. Now I'm going to talk about each piece of gear briefly and explain why it's necessary. First, you're going to need a backpack to carry all your gear. Now on this pack I have my weapon of choice, which is a bow. But you could have a rifle or a shotgun or a muzzleloader. Just make sure that you check your state's regulations and be sure that you're transporting these legally and safely, and also that you're using a legal weapon for that time of the year and that species. Now, continuing on the outside of the pack here, I have an elk call, but you could replace this with any other call of your choice for the species that you're hunting. So some smaller items that I like to keep on the outside of the pack and an easy spot to get to would be a wind checker, because no matter what you're hunting, as long as you're downwind of it, it's not going to smell you. So it's always nice to have one of these on you so you always know what the wind is doing. Next in here, I've got a rangefinder, because no matter what weapon I'm using, I like to know the exact range that that animal is at so I can make an legal and ethical kill. I also have in this pocket a headlamp, because as hunters, we like to spend long days out in the field, and usually when we're successful, we're coming out in the dark or we're going in the dark. So having a headlamp is very, very useful. And last but not least in there, I have my tags and licenses, because when I harvest an animal, some states require me to tag that animal, or at least punch my tag immediately after the shot. So I always like to keep it in a spot where I can get to it very quickly to make sure that I'm following the law. So moving right along with the next pocket of our pack. In here, I like to keep a GPS. It's just convenient for navigating, but there are plenty of apps out there these days for using a smartphone instead. Just remember that these are battery powered, so either have a way to charge them or be prepared for the fact that they might die on you. So because of that, I like to bring the trusty old map and compass, because as long as I know how to use it, it's never going to fail me. So make sure that you learn how to use a map and compass before you take it out with you. So next, I always like to bring some binoculars. No matter what I'm doing, I can extend my line of sight and hopefully see that animal before it sees me, because usually that means I've got a pretty good chance of being successful. So another thing is a little creature comfort, and that's some toilet paper, because when you're in the woods and nature calls, toilet paper is going to make you feel right at home. You're going to be glad that you brought this with you. And also, I have a little survival kit. It's got some matches, lighter, some other things, just in case I have to spend a little more time out there than I thought. I have this to make sure that I can comfortably stay the night if I need to. So next, we're going to move into some clothing items. And the first piece of clothing items that should be priority for you is getting a comfortable pair of footwear, whether that be boots or shoes, because you're going to come across rocks or water or snow or any number of obstacles while you're out hunting. So making sure that you have a comfortable pair of footwear is going to be paramount to the success of your hunt. We always want to dress for the weather and make sure that we're prepared, but weather is unpredictable, so having some sort of rain layer can add a lot of warmth when it's cold, but also keep you dry when it rains, and camouflage would be recommended, but it's not necessary for us as hunters. Now another piece of gear that you might need is blaze orange. Some states require hunters to wear a certain amount of blaze orange, so make sure that you check your state's regulations to find that out. But after a successful harvest, and you maybe have antlers on your pack while you're walking out, accidents do happen, so make sure that you have some blaze orange to put on after your successful harvest. So next, we always want to bring some high quality food sources, whether that be some backcountry meals like these or whatever snacks you prefer. But while we're hunting, we're generally burning a lot more calories than we would be if we were just hiking or going out normally. So make sure you have some high quality food source with you. And we're also going to need to stay hydrated. So as hunters, we should be prepared to carry all the water that we're going to need. But in case of an emergency, my survival kit here has some water purification tabs just in case I need to get more water. But make sure that you have plenty of space for all the water that you're going to need. So our next piece of gear is our harvest kit. Now with your harvest kit, I always recommend having a nice sturdy rubber handled knife so that when you're gutting the animal, it's easier to hold on to it and you don't drop it. And also something that is strong enough that you can kind of work it in between joints when you're quartering an animal. It's gonna make life a lot easier when you're spending the late nights processing your animal in the field. So also in our harvest kit, I like to have a nice little scalpel blade knife and extra blades, because these things are super sharp, and it's gonna also make your life a lot easier when you're breaking down an animal if you have a nice sharp blade. So I also like to have some rubber gloves to keep me clean and protected while I'm processing an animal, and also if I'm not anywhere where I can wash off my hands really thoroughly, these rubber gloves definitely cut down on the mess that you make when you're processing your animal. I like to bring some paracord and some carabiners in case I need to hang my meat anywhere. These just make life a little easier when you're trying to get it up into a tree. And last but not least, in our harvest kit, I bring plenty of game bags so that I can put all the meat that I harvest from that animal into game bags, keep them protected from dirt and insects and the general griminess of the field. So the last thing I have in my bag is a first aid kit. Now you can get these pre-packaged at any sportsman's store or outdoor store. But make sure that if you get it prepackaged that you know how to use everything in it, because as hunters we're exposing ourselves to a little bit more danger than we would be normally, carrying around sharp broadheads and sharp knives and firearms. Accidents happen, so make sure that you have stuff to be prepared for those things. You never know what might happen when you're out hunting. So that's it for gear essentials. Remember that this is just the basic kit that you might need for a day of hunting, and as you gain experience, this list is going to expand and evolve, and depending on the species or the type of hunt that you're on, there are going to be some items that you maybe add to this list. Thanks for watching, and check out our other videos on Hunters Connect.